There has been so much confusion to what the end of the Mayan calendar signifies. Most people associate this time with doom and gloom. However, what better way to find the truth than to go to the source, the ancestral land where it was written over 5,000 years ago, Guatemala. This is an inspiring place of wonder, beauty, and life. Home to an ancient civilization with rich cultures and friendly smiles. This is where my journey begins. I travelled across the Pacific Ocean and landed in Guatemala at the top of Central America. The local people of Guatemala hold the Mayan calendar in high regard. The story of this ancient system begins with the belief that a god came to the Mayan people from the sea. This god taught the people about agriculture, maths, science, the solar system, how to live in peace, and shared this special calendar with them. He then left back across the sea, promising to return one day. Sadly, when the Spanish fleets arrived in the 15th century, they had mistaken them for their god returning, and hence began the demise of this ancient civilization. Today, only a few shamans remain who are able to teach and pass on this valuable knowledge of the Mayan calendar. It was an honor and a blessing to be invited to the Mayan New Year ceremony by my wise teacher and friend, Victor. It was held in the highlands of Guatemala by 7 women shamans who are direct descendants of the Mayans. The head shaman was the keeper of the knowledge, dating back to white invasion, where her ancestors fled with the knowledge, safeguarding it before the demise.
All the tribes that are here left is contemporaneous groups that were at the same time that the Maya. The Maya were a tribe which disappeared. And it was the Maya who put together not just the Solkin, which is the Mayan calendar that most people know, but they also had over 200 different calendars. So they had a calendar for Venus, they had a calendar for Jupiter, they had a calendar for Mars, they had a calendar for the sun, which is what most people know today. There's also the calendar for the moon, which is the sacred moon calendar, which is what we follow for the ceremonies. What is amazing is that all of these small groups in Guatemala, there are 20 different ones, they all have knowledge of the calendar, although they never studied. It was the Maya who studied, who put the calendar together. The Mayan calendar is a mathematical marvel. It's the most accurate calendar written in human history. It has lost 1/4 of a second since it was created. It was never meant to predict disasters, catastrophes, and so on, but it was meant to guide humanity in cycles. So there is, like, for instance, different understanding of what the calendar means, no? It's something that has been studied, and then you make your own interpretation of it. Perhaps the only difference is what the Shawomans share with you in Todos Santos. They cannot read and write. Nevertheless, they continue to keep the calendar. They know the day. They know when the events take place. They know when an eclipse will come. If it's 10 years from now, they are able to sit down and they will count the days with their fingers, and they will give you a date. Or they will use seeds to count. Perhaps their understanding of the calendar comes in a way limited, as they haven't seen the calendar, but they know it inside. They live with it every day. So my understanding, or what I know about the calendar, is because I have studied the calendar for over 15 years with the timekeepers, people who have dedicated their life for between 12 to 20-something generations. They are born understanding that this is what they have to do, and they live for it and they die for it all their life. That's the only thing they do. They study Venus, they study Jupiter, they study movements of the Earth, the position of the Earth around the Sun, the position of a solar system around the Milky Way. And that's what they have done since the calendar was made. So my understanding comes from it, from what they have, people who have spent all their life learning about it.
Today is the last day, and tonight at 12 we will receive the New Year.
Hoy, medianoche.
Grandfathers left me this power because now is where you plant corn, and now is where you have to start planting corn, and also where you can plant potatoes.
Yes.
Also
Sí, a la milpa, la papa, la frijol, la cualquier fruta.
Verduras,
Ayota, todo.
they say that before, when they did more ceremony, and the corn used to be bigger, and the vegetables used to be bigger, but now they're smaller. It's important tonight to make ceremony. Because now is the time.
For the Mayans, first is the calendar. This is our trunk, this is our base. It's not when I want to do the things. It's when it's going to be the best time, when I will, because every day gives us something else. If I start my house today, perhaps I will become more self-confident. But maybe if I started in 5 days, I will become more emotionally stable. But if I started in 28 days, I might be able to make better my relationship with my father and my mother. If I started in 60 days, I might become more physically strong. So each day is different. There is not really a best day, but it's more about where are you walking towards your life, what are you looking for in your life. So our trunk is the Mayan calendar, it's the Tzolkin. And out of that, we make our decisions.
A shaman is one that is able to connect with the spirit of all living things, that have a real connection and understanding of the earth and the spirit world. Victor explained to me that there are different aspects of shamanism. It depends on the gift that you are given. For example, at the ceremony, there were 7 women shamans present: a midwife, a herbalist, a reader of bones like a chiropractor, a pulse reader, and a reader of red beans who predicts outcomes and the future.
The shamanism is like a tree. It has one trunk, and it opens up in 20 different branches. And each branch is something else. There is the branch of the person who works with the bone. There is the person who works with the red beans to know, to be able to see things in the near future. Another branch will be working with dreams. Another branch will be working with herbs. The center and the most highest that comes from the trunk is Akija Akshelon, or a midwife. This is the highest position in shamanism because they welcome new life to this world.
Pero no solo todo, no solo todo. Por parte, una. Aquí, hasta allá, otra allá, otra aquí. No todo hay gente, hay poder, hay destino, ¿no? Por una.
Pero el Dios está.
Sí, pero el mismo Dios te dejó las destinas. Sí. Puede bucear, puede echar remedio, puede. Cuando se casaron nene, ese es
servindo. ¿Con qué poder?
Castumbra también. Como ya cuando era chiquita, cuando era meneció, ya tiene destino, ya tiene poder. Sí.
Es cuando nace un bebé. Yo soy comadrón.
Maybe one person can read the pulse, maybe one person is a healer, maybe one person knows how to harvest, or how to plant. By themselves they cannot do anything, but if you put them all together you have God. So each person has his own power or destiny in the moment that he is born. But he alone cannot do anything, we have to work together.
It was an incredible honor to be invited to the Mayan New Year ceremony. My journey has always been about seeking the truth to make sense of this existence. And sometimes we can find this truth by looking at past knowledge and information that has been left for us to discover.
The idea behind the Mayan cross is that we all come in different presentation, in different skin color, but there is, in essence, there is only one race, which is humanity. But the colors represent the apparent divisions that we have of our skin color. In the Mayan cross, also used in a fire ceremony, so you see 4 different colors of candles as the main base for the fire ceremony, and are the same 4 different colors of Mayan cross. They're all different colors of candles, but they all join in one single flame, independently of their colors. So the Mayan cross has several significance, but one of the most important things of the Mayan cross is that it reminds us unity as well as balance. Everything in the ceremony has a symbolic meaning. So sugar is placed, a circle is placed, and the Mayan cross is done. You make 2 circles. The first one represents the earth going around itself. The second circle represents the earth going around the sun, the solar year. The symbolic meaning of sugar is so that our thoughts become sweet, that we become like sugar towards ourselves and towards others. Then you put copal, which is a sacred tree, it's not used for furniture or anything else other than just fire ceremonies. You also see several types of incense as well as the bark of this tree called copal. And that's what we put in the ceremony because it's the highest form of offering in a fire ceremony, the blood of a living creature. And to us, trees are alive. That's where incense comes. So it's the sap from different types of trees. We use tobacco because tobacco gives a smoke. In ancient times, before the hunting of the jaguars or before the huntings, people was covered on sage and tobacco to hide the scent of the human body. Also symbolic meaning is that we are covered in smoke, our body, so that our goals don't run away from us, so that our goals don't sense us. Just like in the hunting of the jaguar or in the north with the bison, they used to be covered in sage before going to hunt the bison, so that the bison won't run away from them. So it's very symbolical meaning of the tobacco in the ceremony. This smoke is very sacred to us because it covers our smell so that we can reach our goals in life.
¿Qué tal vez Dios dijo?
Yes.
Sí.
Dios, como que
Saber,
Dios
mismo está.
por su mente.
Sí.
¿Cómo así?
Cuando está trabajando, ¿sí? Sí, cuando está trabajando en el candela. ¿Sí?
En el fuego.
Ser personal.
El juego.
Sí.
Saber cómo Dios dejó el poder.
These ancient customs and traditions are sadly starting to fade away due to the legal discrimination within Guatemala. Even though 60% of its population are indigenous, these people still struggle with basic human rights issues. When the people came together to demand basic rights such as the right to speak in their native tongue, protection of sacred land, minimum wages and better working conditions, a civil war broke out. An estimated 200,000 people were murdered by government forces during this long-running civil war. People are still suffering today from the trauma of that horrific time. And even now, in the 21st century, these original custodians of this land have to get a permit to celebrate their new year. Everyone talks of the Mayan calendar and how advanced this civilization once was. Yet after all the atrocities and terror that was inflicted upon them during white invasion, still today they have been discriminated against.
One of the main things in Guatemala is that natives or indigenous, they live out of the legal system. So they live out of the law, which they consider really awkward. The law of the government, the law of lawyers, to them is a joke. So because they live outside of it, they have their own system of dealing with things. But right now, it's not only in the forest where they are living. Civilization have reached them. And with civilization, laws have came, and that law says that you need a permit for doing this, you need a permit to, and so and so. So then since they are interacting with the government of Guatemala, and because they are peaceful people, they will say, yeah, sure, okay, you want us to have a permit, we go and get a permit. The persecution of shamans is something that was being done for just recently, not even 20 years have passed.
The cruelty of nature and of foreign invaders have destroyed Guatemala's ancient culture. The majority of our citizens, who are pure-blooded Indians,
since shamans were being put in prison because they had a candle or they had a little bag of little balls of sap because they were going to say thank you for the crops of last week, to go to the mountain and say thank you. They were sent to prison because they were going to say thank you and carried ceremonial items. And that's not even 20 years, it's 10 years ago. This still happened. So we have this, and no, Christians don't need a permit for it. That's why when I talked about the law, that for them this law is a joke. Because it is okay for some, but not okay for some. It is okay when it wants to be used, but not okay when it's affecting them. And in order to maintain that law, you create another law, and then you create also exceptions for it. So for them, it's an awkward thing to have. Nevertheless, they are interacting with each other, and for them, peace is important, so they do.
Pero por parte. No solo la casa tiene todo, ¿no?
Vamos a agarrar todo, vamos a poner...
Y un hermano, un grande hermano, una chiquita hermana, sí tienes, no toda. Como antes tienes poderlos, unas abuelitas, unas...
Un abuelito, un abuelo,
anciano, tienes su poder, la ancianita.
Dios dejó primero,
Es un hijo de
su hija Adán, su hija Eva.
Pero ahora ya bajó un poco.
Pero la posó por sentido, por momento, no sabe leer, no entró yo en la escuela, en nada. Solo por el idioma, ya estoy sin ekman, sin ekavela, o que se yo lo llamamos, que ser vez, como justicia, ya jale, gracias Dios. Pero no que sabe leer, ahí de la
The Mayans speak of a golden age, something that have been waiting for so long and against all odds still hold on to their truth. They describe the year 2012 as a time of great awakening, an opportunity for us to break free, a time to heal, to love again, a time where we can become one and live in peace.
So the calendar with the 2012, the calendar doesn't end. The calendar is two wheels, which is the smaller wheel, which is the moon calendar, and the bigger wheel, which is the sun. And they do this continuously. So the calendar in 2012, it doesn't end. Just like the Earth goes around the sun, the whole solar system also goes around the Milky Way. So in 2012, December 21st, the whole solar system had finished its orbit around the Milky Way, around the bundos. So one of the most important advices for 2012 was to be here, to enjoy where we are. Not what is missing, not where we're going, but just to return to the now. So there is a collective consciousness that will arise. And we already see it. It's not just environmentalists who talk about caring for the earth. Now everyone is talking about, it's in the news, but it's also the importance of not acting from a space of fear, but from a space of joy, of thankfulness, in order to do a change. Nobody talks about fear regarding to 2012. We always speak of an important time. Whatever interpretation you have of it or studies you have made, we always speak of the same of 2012, that it is a very important time for humanity, where we can grow and to really become humanity. Because when we look around, it's really a shame that we call ourselves humans, when a lot of what we do is not human. So it's a very important time when we can actually become humans, become humanity together as a group. That is a window in time that will open up where we can do a lot of things for each other.
Though the path may be written, the destination is not. We are now at the crossroads, and it's up to us to determine what the outcome will be. It is truly an exciting time to be alive, a time of transformation, a time of great awakenings, where we can free ourselves from the greed and fear that has brought so much destruction and suffering to our world. This is a time where we can set ourselves free.